Whether you're planning to buy a V8 4Runner or maybe you just bought one, there's a few things that you're going to want to know. And so in this video, I'm going to be going over a few things like maintenance, the four-wheel drive system, towing, all kinds of stuff about these V8 4Runners that are interesting for people that own them or want to own them. First up, they're really bad on gas. It's just as bad as the people claim online. My 4Runner, I get about 15 miles per gallon combined with city and highway driving. Now, just the city, that's closer to like 11 or 12 miles per gallon, so these things are definitely thirsty. Now, keep in mind, obviously, mine has bigger 285 tires on it, but it also has a set of Doug Thorley headers on it, which improve the MPG a little bit. So it's not quite like a direct trade-off. They don't cancel each other out completely, but it's not quite as bad as if it was just the tires. Overall, I would say my 4Runner is still a little bit worse than a stock one would be. On that note, it's totally fine to run 87 octane in your 4Runner. Some owner's manuals do recommend premium gas, but some of them don't. And since Toyota can't quite get their story straight there, it mustn't be that important. I've run 87 in mine since I bought it. That's over 5 years, and it's been totally fine. No knocking, no hiccups, no nothing. Go ahead and comment down below what you run in yours. If you guys want to get into an argument down there, go ahead. I think I'm going to make a video about this specifically, but nevertheless, running 87 octane is not going to blow the engine in your V8 4Runner. All 2UZ V8 engines have a timing belt and not a timing chain. So Toyota recommends that you have this replaced every 90,000 miles or 145,000 kilometers, I guess it works out to be. Now there's some debate on the forums about whether or not this engine is actually an interference engine or not, and if you really need to change the timing belt as often as they recommend. There's lots of stories of people going well over 200,000 miles on the original timing belt. There's also stories of timing belts snapping and no damage being caused to the engine whatsoever. They put a new belt on and drove for however long after that without any problems. Now the cost to replace the timing belt varies based on where you're getting it done, whether you're taking it to the Toyota dealership or an independent shop, or you're a DIYer, you're gonna do it yourself, and also the parts that you use, whether you get OEM ones or aftermarket ones. Based on what I've seen online, it seems to be like somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 to have the whole job done, and that usually includes doing the water pump as well while you're in there. So how can you tell if your timing belt has already been changed? Well, most reputable mechanics will put a sticker on the timing cover on the engine, and it's going to have the date and the mileage that it was replaced at, and that gives you peace of mind. You know, okay, you're good to go. Now I was told that my timing belt was changed at 160,000 kilometers before I bought it, and there's no sticker on it anywhere. I don't have any service records to prove that, so I'm kind of, I don't know if I should be doing it right now. Most V8 4Runners are rated to tow 7,000 pounds, which if you think about it, that's pretty impressive for a relatively small vehicle. You might be surprised to hear that not all V8 4Runners are rated to tow 7,000 pounds though. The two-wheel drive only models were actually rated to tow 7,300 pounds, which is even more impressive. It gets weirder though. The V8 4Runners came with a frame-mounted hitch that hangs down below the rear bumper. You can tell the difference visually. Now, I don't know if it was a Canada-only thing or something, but some of the 4Runners like mine actually came with the V6 style trailer hitch on them, which mounts to the bumper. So if that's the case, you have a vehicle that's rated to tow 7,000 pounds, and the connection between it and the trailer is rated for 5,000 pounds. I don't know what's going on there. So you might want to proceed with caution if your 4Runner has the V6 style trailer hitch on it and you're planning on pushing those higher limits of what it's rated to tow. If you're looking for the two-wheel drive setting on your V8 4Runner, you might as well stop because you're not going to find it. The V6 models had 3 settings on their 4-wheel drive dial. They had a 2 high, a 4 high, and a 4 low. The V8s only have a 4 high and 4 low. There's no two-wheel drive setting on these whatsoever. Why did Toyota do this? Well, I really don't know. Throughout all of my research, I couldn't find any definitive answer of why they took away the two-wheel drive setting for the V8 model. My best guess would be that maybe it was a safety thing, that they were worried about the low-end torque of the V8 engine roasting the tires in wet weather and making it unsafe. I don't know, that's the best that I can figure. While you're looking for things that you may or may not find, let's talk about your transmission dipstick. You might have one, you might not. You see, Toyota switched to a sealed transmission and different fluid in 2004 with the V8 4Runners, and they did the same thing with the V6 4Runners a year later in 2005. So if your V8 4Runner is a 2003 model, you might have a transmission dipstick. Otherwise, you probably don't. Toyota did a facelift on the 4th Gen 4Runner midway through its production run in 2006, and right around that time, it also did an update to the V8 engine where they added VVTi to it, or variable valve timing. It's kind of similar to Honda's VTEC. This newer V8 makes an extra 35 horsepower and 10 foot-pounds of torque over the 03 and 04 models. Now here's where it gets really strange. In 2006, Toyota changed the way that they rated their horsepower ratings, and so technically on paper, the newer models actually made less power than the 03 and 04 models. But I've driven both V8s and I can tell you there's no way that the newer ones make less power than that. This is just sort of a difference on paper, but not in the real world. So the 2005 model was a bit of an oddball year because it didn't get the cosmetic facelift yet. It still looked like the older ones, but it did have the newer V8 engine in it, so it's kind of stuck in between the two. Otherwise, you can usually spot a newer 4.7 based on the rounded fender openings and the projector headlights up front. If you want to dig deeper into the year-to-year changes of the 4th Gen 4Runner, you can find my buyer's guide by just going on Google and searching for Canadian Gearhead 4Runner guide. Unless you want your drivetrain to Control-Alt-Delete itself, you gotta be careful about what size spare tire you run. Since these are full-time four-wheel drive, the outer diameter of each tire needs to be pretty much equal, otherwise it's gonna cause some trouble. In my case, with my 285/70/17s on here, that's a tough tire size to fit into the stock location, so I'm actually running a 255/75/18 that was like a takeoff from a Jeep Wrangler, and that tucks up into the factory location just fine, and the main thing is that has the same outer diameter as these wider 285s. Now I wouldn't drive on this for an extended period of time, but at least it's enough to get me to a tire shop and not just stranded out in the middle of nowhere. There's two main failures that you'll hear about with these 4th Gen V8 4Runners. Remember when I told you that they updated it with VVTi about 2005? Well, they also added a secondary air injection system. This basically just helps to heat up the cats quicker for emissions purposes. There's a variety of error codes that can come up from this, and most of them are going to put your 4Runner in limp mode. So how do you fix this? Well, you can take it to the dealership and spend thousands of dollars on replacing everything if you want to, or you can do like I did in this video and install a bypass kit from Hewitt Technologies. It just disables the whole system, so you never have to worry about it again. The other thing that these V8 4Runners are known for is cracked exhaust manifolds, and it's not just the 4Runners, it's all of the trucks that came with this 4.7 liter V8. The Tundras, the Sequoias, the Land Cruisers, Lexus GX 470s, all of them all suffer from this. Now this isn't a reliability issue because the truck will still run and drive just fine, but it will create a ticking noise, and scientists have confirmed that this has the potential to drive you clinically insane. Basically, Toyota used thin material when they built the Manifold, and it was in an effort to once again heat the cats up quicker for emissions purposes. The problem is, the weight of the cats combined with the thin metal in the first place meant that these just ended up cracking. Typically it's right around the flange. How do you fix this one? Well, once again, you can go to the dealership and spend a couple of grand on brand new OEM manifolds that are just gonna crack eventually, again, just like the first ones did. Or you can do like I did and upgrade to a set of Doug Thorley headers. Now, these are made of beefy stainless steel, they got a lifetime warranty on them, and they'll give you more horsepower, torque, and MPGs as well. Well, now you guys are experts on the V8 4Runner, so if you wanna know how my V8 4Runner compares to my Tacoma, go ahead and check out this video next. Otherwise, I will see you guys next week.